11 incredible rides, one epic theme park. Today we're doing things a little bit differently and giving you our official ride rankings for every ride at Epic Universe. Let's go.
Now this isn't your average ranking video because we're not only ranking all 11 rides today, but we're also rating them on a nausea scale and a storytelling and immersion scale as well. We're gonna go ride by ride, land by land, and what better place to start than the land that gives us all the nostalgia.
Super Nintendo World, baby.
Let's start with the first attraction of the day. If you guessed Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, then you know me too well. It's at a 45-minute right now, which isn't too bad. Let's go for a ride. Now, if you're not familiar with anything Mario Kart, this one is pretty straightforward when it comes to what it's about, the storytelling aspect of it. So you're basically going to be competing against Team Bowser. So it's Team Mario versus Team Bowser. I hate that because I want to be on Team Bowser. You're basically competing for the Universal Golden Cup. This is actually an augmented reality ride where using projection mapping, you're going to see the characters in front of you. It's always going to be different. The beautiful thing about this ride is you will always get a different outcome. So it's not going to be the same ending. You can actually lose if you don't collect enough coins. And the more points that you collect from that, the higher your team score and your higher chances of winning. I am so excited. I feel like I'm 10 years old again.
Woo! We had to find a little bit of shade because it is
hot.
The real feel today is 101 degrees and we are not even in the thick of summer. So if you are coming for those hot summer July months,
don't be a rookie like me and don't wear black, first of all.
I have no idea why you wear black. Something that you have to know for the purpose of this video, Wonk and I, we have a very interesting dynamic which hopefully will fall into one of your areas of like the theme park world, which means that I am the theme park person that gets very nauseated with motion simulated rides, screens, dark rides that have like a lot of spinning or things.
So think Forbidden Journey.
Think Forbidden Journey, and then for Walk,
roller coasters. Roller coasters like the Hulk. Oh my God, I was nauseous for like 2 hours the first time I rode that.
Even Velocicoaster makes them queasy. Like we said at the top of this video, we're going to be giving you our rankings for these rides, but because of our little interesting dynamic here, we're also going to talk about the nausea factor and
when it comes to story, exactly.
Let's start with the theming and atmosphere.
Right, so if you are into Mario Kart, this is the place to be. You're going to be fanboying or girling the entire time. You're really going to feel like you're inside the game, especially when you're sitting in that cart. Even the queue alone, the way that they go all out on this. So when it comes to the immersion and storytelling, right, I would give this a 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10. And
it comes to that theming and that of the ride, of the queue, and everything, taking all of that into account, it definitely is a fun one to explore.
Oh yeah.
The nausea scale here, it's kind of like hit or miss. There will be times where I get a little more nauseous than others. Right now, today, I came off with a terrible headache, like out of the ride. So I'm gonna say it's a solid 5 because it's kind of like give or take with that ride.
There is a lot of movement that happens. So in my head, I was thinking about it as we were riding it. Like I can see somebody like closing their eyes or taking their visors off because they need a little break.
Because it is motion simulated, literally up close and
to your eyes.
In your visor. That's where you're going to be seeing everything, and everything is moving everywhere in that visor. So keep that in mind. And now land on your list, big Mr. Nintendo.
Now I want to say that these rankings could change throughout the day.
Yes.
Okay, so as of right now, I'm going to put this at my number 4 out of 11.
Okay.
4 out of 11, which is pretty high up there.
And it's pretty high up, but you always do want to ride this ride, so I think that tracks a little bit. For me, at the start of the day, this is going to be my number 8. This is not a ride that I would... Sorry.
Turn this video off.
This is not a ride that I would run to, but it's not my least favorite ride.
Okay.
Now, there's a total of 3 rides in Super Nintendo World as a whole, but only 2 in the portion that is Super Mario Land. Mario Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge was one, and the second one is going to be Yoshi's Adventure.
So if you're not familiar with this ride, it is a very slow-paced, relaxing ride. I don't know how it's going to be in this heat. We might cook a little bit, but it's an omni-mover style ride where you get to see a beautiful view of the entire Mushroom Kingdom. The theming behind this ride is pretty simple. If you're familiar with the video games Yoshi's Island, it is based off of that. There's one dark ride portion that you do get to see, and it's really, really cool. And if you've played the game or watched the walkthrough, you're really gonna catch so many Easter eggs in that portion alone. Now, this isn't just a ride where you're just taking a view, but you're also interacting with the ride itself, because you've got 3 eggs in your cart that are buttons, and you have to press them every time you see a color that matches up with the egg. And the goal is to help Captain Toad find the golden egg. The coolest Easter egg about this entire ride is the Yoshi egg at the very end here, which is an Easter egg to the game Yoshi's Story. You can hear the music right now. I don't know if you can hear it on. It makes you want to dance a little bit. We were on that Yoshi and Yoshi's Adventure, and we were cooking.
All right, when it comes to theming and atmosphere, I say this is a 9 out of 10 in my book.
Yeah, I especially love when you're getting really close to Mount Beanpole. Like, just you look up and the view is just beautiful.
When it comes to nausea, this is not a nausea-inducing ride whatsoever.
Unless you count the sun beating on your face and you start getting dizzy, then maybe.
When it comes to rankings,
Number 9 for me.
this is my number 10.
Right. While it is beautiful, it is a little too slow for us. You have little ones, right, who want to get the entire vibe and atmosphere, or if you want to take a break and you're sick of walking around all day, this is the perfect time to do that type of ride. We've got one more here in Super Nintendo World.
Let's
and
move
you know
on.
what it is, baby.
Or maybe you don't, but we'll tell you. Woo! Just something about this land every single time. Just the second you walk in.
Makes you want to break dance right off the bat.
Right.
No hesitation.
Off the
No
bat.
hesitation. I mean, look,
Right.
everybody's doing it.
Everybody's dancing. Everybody's dancing. It's like the second that you walk in. Yeah, the second you walk in, you just want to dance.
Let's talk about this attraction really quick. So this is based off of the Donkey Kong Country games, if you don't already know. So you get to jump into what looks like a real-life minecart, just like the video games. This is a very family-friendly coaster. A little bit family-friendly and a little bit thrill. You do have a couple of drops, but it is definitely not too intense. And it is actually one of the most popular rides here, especially during EPA, because you do have access to this ride very early in the morning before the park even opens. So sometimes during previews, we even saw this ride go up to sometimes 180 minutes or more. So just keep that in mind if you do want to prioritize this ride. Minecart Madness. Now let's talk about the theming and atmosphere here, storytelling. I would rate it, I would say a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I would not give it a 10 out of 10 only because while it is amazing in the ride itself, but I'm also including the queue, and the queue can get a little bit boring and dull if you're waiting there a long time. There is an amazing animatronic of Cranky Kong himself who's telling you about the ride. You can see all sorts of Easter eggs in there, so it is pretty cool. But if you're there for a long time, like, it kind of throws you off.
It could get a little monotonous.
Yeah.
On the nausea level.
Right.
This is the coaster, so this is you?
I would give it a 5 out of 10. So it is not really nauseating at all. The reason why I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 is because there is a lot of rough movement on this ride.
There is.
And depending on who you are, right? I've heard some older people who've ridden this who said that their knees have fallen off. Not literally. But also the bar, when you kind of pull it down to your legs, it's a little bit tight for other people too, which is not part of the nausea part, but so a comfort level, right? So it adds to when you're getting jerked around, makes you not feel as comfortable as some other coasters, not as smooth. But that being said, I still rate this, of all of the rides, on my number 3.
It's your number top 3 ride?
Top 3. Because it's still an incredible ride and I have so much fun every time I ride it.
I'm struggling between 3rd and 4th place. As we continue throughout the day, I will maybe adjust that. That wraps up Super Nintendo World, unless we decide to come back at night, because this is an amazing
beautiful.
Amazing. If we're talking about nighttime rides, then this is probably in my top two of the rides.
100%.
Fine, let's move on.
The Time Turner, isn't that a beautiful thing? Except, I don't really care about Fantastic Beasts. I'm a Death Eater at heart. Avada Kedavra. Let's talk about where we're headed to right now, because if you enter the land itself, we do enter Wizarding World Paris, which is based off of the Fantastic Beasts film franchise. But when you go into the attraction, you're traveling from 1920s Paris back to 1990s UK, which is going to be after the fall of Voldemort. And it takes over when we enter the trial of Dolores Umbridge for sending Muggles to Azkaban. Nobody likes her except for Pau.
What? That's so untrue. Battle at the Ministry, 9 out of 10 on the nausea scale. There are a lot of screens, and I was told if you sit in a different angle, you might get more nauseated, less nauseated. I don't know. I mean, yesterday we sat all the way in the back by the elevator wall. Literally, I almost was not okay. Today we sat, I asked the team member, they so kindly sat us in the front, dead center.
Still
did not help.
Okay. Well,
maybe a tad bit, but not enough. Not enough. Probably the most nauseating inducing ride at Epic Universe for me.
Now let's talk about the storytelling and immersion atmosphere.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. I was going to say, from the moment you step into the queue, you really feel like you're inside a Harry Potter film. They did such an incredible job, and it fits so cohesively into the ride itself. And with that, I'm going to rate, as far as storytelling, like you said, 10 out of 10, but ranking number 2. This is my number 2
ride?
They did such a great job on this attraction. What about you?
That's amazing. I am with a heavy heart, because I do think that it is an amazing ride when it comes to what they have produced and some of the animatronics in there. What past the screens, because there are screens and then there's actual real portions of it. This falls on my number 9.
Not what?
Yes. I love and I can appreciate the artwork that goes into this ride, but it is one that it is difficult for me to ride.
Wow. No, that's understandable.
It's difficult. It really is.
That is totally understandable. Now, really quickly, I do want to mention that this is, like we said, a motion simulator ride. So if you want, and you've never been to Epic Universe, a good way to put it is think about Spider-Man over at Islands of Adventure mixed with Forbidden Journey. So there is a lot of movements that jolt you around a little bit. At first you go into this elevator platform that looks like the Tower of Terror over at Hollywood Studios.
Disney.
It kind of, yes, in Disney, if you've ever ridden that, it looks very similar like that, but the ride is nothing like that. It is a lot of movement, so just keep that in mind. If you're prone to getting nauseous, you might feel it for sure. Whew, sun's starting to come down. It's not as crazy hot as it was before, so we're not melting, but poor Pau, she holds the camera, has just informed me that she is feeling very nauseous, so let's all say a prayer for Pau, make sure she feels okay.
So what better way than to
cool off from the nausea by going to How to Train Your Dragon, baby. Let's go.
Nothing makes anything better than just walking into Isle of Berk and just feeling the vibes. Now, in this world, we have 3 main ride attractions. We have Hiccup Swing Gliders, Dragon Racers Rally, and Fire Drill. Going on Dragon Racers Rally right now, and barrel rolling through the sky might not be the best idea, so let's kick it off with...
Hiccups?
No, I think I need a minute for that one too.
Okay.
It's time to... I'm losing my thoughts. That's how much. That's yes. It's the reality of it, right? If you get nauseous very easily, it's a reality. What is the water ride?
Fire drill.
Fire drill. Let's do fire drill.
Let's go. Let's cool that down.
Change of plans. Fire drill is at a current delay, so Hiccup Swing Gliders it is.
If you are not familiar, this is the only coaster here at Isle of Berk, and it is one of the most popular at Epic Universe as a whole. This is a family-friendly coaster based off of the character Hiccup and Toothless. This is such a fun ride, but we're going to talk about the ranking after we ride. One more thing I want to point out over here is that this is a attraction that you do have to use lockers for. And if you're not familiar with the locker system here,
It's a facial recognition locker. It's similar to the ones that you would see at Velocicoaster over at Islands of Adventure. Hiccup swing gliders.
wow,
Beautiful
what a ride. I cannot
Absolutely
count
love
how many
it.
times we've done this.
A lot.
We've
A
done it
lot.
during the day, during golden hour, and at night. Golden hour and at night is just such an incredible view
Chef's
because this coaster takes you around the entire Isle of Berk, so you get
Yes.
such beautiful views.
One of the best rides at Epic Universe,
Absolutely.
hands down. Now, nausea level.
I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. Doesn't really give you any nausea. It does go a little bit fast at times, a little
twists and
twist.
turns, but
That's
they're
why I
not
give it a
enough.
3, but it could honestly just be as easy be a 1. The best part about the theming and atmosphere, two things here is number one, Hiccup's workshop at the very beginning of the queue. I absolutely
so
love that
wonderful.
because
There's
it
so many
is
things
so
in
realistic.
there, little Easter eggs that
Yeah.
you really want to stop and look at. So, I mean, I know it's easy to want to run in to get in line, but if you have the time to stop and look
Yes.
around the workshop
Yeah.
as you're walking into that queue,
Check out all those
check
details.
it out.
They
now,
really go
other
above
than
and
that, the queue in itself doesn't have a whole lot to
doesn't.
look at. There's some stones with dragons,
Right.
and it talks about their powers, where
Yeah,
they come
different
from,
species.
all of that. But
Then the ride itself, because of
It's
course,
beautiful.
this one deserves a 9 out of 10, I would say.
I would say about a 9 out of 10 as well.
Yeah.
If you're taking the whole thing into consideration, because
right.
the queue in itself, not my favorite, but
Right.
the ride is just such a good ride.
Incredible.
Now, when it comes to ranking, this is my number 2 out of Isle of Berk.
Wow.
Yes, it is
Isle
my
of Berk or
top.
of entire
Out of-
Epic?
Out of all of Epic Universe,
Yeah.
this is my number 2 ride.
This can easily fall within the top 5. It only ranks number 5 because there are other incredible rides out there, but this is one of the best at Epic Universe. I will say that hands down.
And that little switcheroo from Fire Drill to Hiccups was worth it because Fire Drill is no longer at a delay and it is still daytime enough where we can see the targets that we're about to hit. This is one of the best rides outside of Hiccups Wing Gliders here at Isle of Berk, but I gotta recommend you wear a poncho because it is a water ride. You already know the drill. You know the
Go
drill.
time. Time to get
It's go time.
soaked.
Time is like slipping through our fingers. So this is not a thrill ride whatsoever. So
No,
I
not
don't
one bit.
they believe nausea exists
This is
or
a
matters here.
straight
0 out
water
of
ride.
10. Yes, a straight water ride. Theming and atmosphere. I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10 because the queue, there's nothing to look at really. It's just kind of, you're just walking straight through.
Very small queue.
Very small
Yeah.
queue, but the ride in itself, it is so much fun, so it still deserves a higher end of the scale.
wonderful.
And Fire Drill is themed to Rough Nut and Tough Nut
Right, the
and their
Chaotic
respective
Twins.
dragon as well.
And because it's themed after the Chaotic Twins, this ride is all chaos.
All chaos.
So expect a lot of fun, but expect to be soaked. A requirement,
Yes.
if you're not a fan of water rides, is to bring a poncho.
Poncho, like me. Hi,
Do it.
I hate water rides. Now, when it comes to ranking walk, where does this land on your rank?
Oh, so I feel like it doesn't justify, but it's an 8. An 8
What?
place. But it's just that there's so many rides
I'm
that I would
shook.
that I like better.
Because he loves
But this
this
is I love this ride. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It is still at number 8.
Okay.
But that does not mean that it deserves an 8th place. I just want to say that.
Okay,
What about
okay.
you?
This is gonna fall on my number 5, still in
Okay.
my top 5, because I think that we've ridden this ride almost every single time
Yeah.
that we are in
Oh,
Isle
yeah.
of Berk. I really enjoy this ride.
And-
this is coming from someone who hates water.
Oh, yeah.
All right, the third attraction in Isle of Berk is going to be Dragon Racers Rally. And like all the rides at Isle of Berk are themed to a specific Viking and their dragon, this is going to be themed to Astrid, the best dragon racer in Isle of Berk, and Snotloud, the arguably worst, debatable dragon racer in Isle of Berk. Now, this ride is going to take you on a journey to make you feel like you are flying through the sky like a true dragon racer. This is, you can make it as thrilling as you want or as chill as you want. If you just stay still and you don't do absolutely anything, it's just gonna take you around and around. And if you try to barrel roll, you can actually do a whole barrel roll. I have tried my absolute best to barrel roll. Doesn't happen. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I am probably closer to Snotloud in the dragon racing department.
I want to start with the nausea because you would expect that you do get nauseous, but you do not unless you barrel roll.
We have not
Right, so
barrel
we
rolled,
can't
so we
say.
can't speak to that
Right.
per se.
So without the barrel roll, it is probably a 1 out of 10 in nausea.
Yes,
It is
I
not
will
as
say
intense
it
as
goes
you
really
think.
high.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of heights, this is definitely going to be something that just keep in mind it goes high. But other than that, theming and atmosphere.
So you have the trophies that you see that they give to the characters at How to Train Your Dragon.
All the trophies are in the queue, and there is a tapestry that takes you through the queue, and it tells you a very beautiful story with photos and everything. However, it's still not, for us, I think on the level of theming and atmosphere, something that we would rate at a 10 out of 10. Right. This is going to fall on the lower end for me when it comes to theming and atmosphere. I'm probably going to give this about a 4.
Honestly, I agree with that. Yeah, I would give it a 4 as well.
Now, when it comes to ranking, Walk, where does it land?
11. 11 place.
Unfortunately, it also falls in my 11th place. Yes.
Okay.
It is my dead last place ride, which is so unfortunate because I absolutely love this
I was going to say, but just because we rate it at 11 doesn't mean that
it's
you
a
won't
bad
like it.
Ride, and it doesn't mean that you won't like it. It's just kind of preference-wise.
Yeah.
Epic Universe is filled with some amazing rides, and this one tends to fall on the lower end for us.
I wouldn't wait more than 30 minutes for this one.
No,
for sure.
I would not.
No.
Finally, we are here when it is turning dusk, and we are finally able to see the Centuries lit up with fire. Oh my gosh, that just brought, like, honestly, I have goosebumps right now just at how beautiful it looks. It makes this village come alive tenfold of what it is.
We actually have 2 rides that we have not ridden the entire time that we've been at Epic Universe, and one that I have been procrastinating, delaying, trying my best not to do, and that is Stardust Racers. We've heard that this is probably one of the best, if not the best attraction here at Epic Universe. I am nervous, but I'm ready to rank it, baby. Let's go. This one is pretty epic when it comes to, pun intended, theming. As you know, we are in Celestial Park, which is all about the cosmos, and this is the center attraction of it all, probably the biggest one of the entire park. This is actually a dual launch coaster of comets that are racing through the cosmos, and there's something that's called the Celestial Spin, which is when both coasters will be spinning around each other and racing to the finish. I'm just sweating thinking about that. I don't know if I can do this. Can we not? No? Yes? All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's see what this queue looks like. This is our first time actually walking through the queue. See the lockers, facial recognition lockers. Obviously, this is a coaster that you will put your stuff in. Now, when we were outside, we did see that not both of the coasters, they're not both being launched. They were earlier, so maybe they're going through some delay with one of the coasters. I don't know which color that is, so I don't know what color we're gonna get to ride. It's all new to us after 8 visits to Epic Universe. It's the first ride that we're riding that we have not done. That's insane. All right.
It is 9 o'clock at night, and it feels like it is the afternoon with the sun on my face because of how sweaty I am.
Listen to me.
Insane.
Listen to me. I wish we could have taken the camera for somehow, some way on this queue because the way Walk was terrified.
I wasn't speaking.
It was not speaking.
She's like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna
I did point out all the children in the ride. I'm like, look, he's there and he's there.
And then when we get up to the ride, she goes, I'm glad you haven't watched Final Destination. I'm like, are you joking?
Never watched the Final Destination.
But you put that into my head.
Yeah, maybe poor me. Anyway.
The ride itself, I would say nausea level 6 out of 10.
Okay.
So it is not as nauseating or as intense as Velocicoaster. Velocicoaster is my enemy. I love Velocicoaster, but it is, when it comes to stomach and nausea, Velocicoaster is terrible. I also asked the guy how fast the launches go, and he's told me it was at 62 miles per hour compared to Velocicoaster. Right, but it felt faster. It felt faster. I thought I was fighting for dear life. Now, as far as the theming, storytelling, atmosphere, and everything else, getting on it really makes you feel like you're on a spaceship. I will say that. Just the sheer fact that it is at the center, right? Celestial Park, you can see everything. I saw Mount Beanpole, beautiful.
Yes.
So when it comes to that, I definitely give this a 9 or maybe even 10 out of 10. The queue is okay.
You're ranking.
Ranking, okay. Watch this. I give this 2nd place.
Really?
2nd place. I would ride it again.
Wow.
I would ride it again.
That's amazing. And you've waited this long to get on it.
At night, though. It left an impression on me.
At night. Okay,
folks,
so there you go.
Don't sleep on this.
The rides at night in this park are just chef's kiss. For me, this is going to be my, funny enough, 6th place.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
6th place for me. Wow. I thought it was a great coaster. I love, it scared the shit out of me, but I love being scared like that. I love it. But I actually got a headache off of it.
You did?
I did get a headache off of it. This was the green side, and I want to preface, I wish we could have written both sides to really give you like a true adequate comparison of both.
Right.
And maybe in a different video we will. We are coming back in June. But for the purpose of this video, so you understand, a phenomenal coaster. The reason why it falls in 6th place for me is just because I tend to like some of the other rides just a little bit more.
Right.
We are now heading over to the Constellation Carousel. This is another first for us, and this is also going to be located in Celestial Park.
I haven't ridden a carousel since I was a kid, but this one is very similar when it comes to the theming and atmosphere, just like Stardust Racers, where you do get to climb on a creature and the cosmic energy carries you around the platform.
So we were told that we can film on this ride.
Woo! So you get to come with us. We got some good music. None of that theme park stuff. We're going clubbing. Woo! I'm actually liking it. I'm liking it a lot. Are you liking it?
It's
so fun. It's a vibe.
Constellation Carousel, right off the bat, we're gonna tell you nausea level, there is none.
Zero. Definitely zero.
Zero. On theming and atmosphere level, beautiful.
Definitely a 9 or a 10 out of 10. It
For
is
a carousel?
incredible. As you saw, you
Yes,
rode it with us.
You rode it with us. Now, obviously the queue, there's really nothing to look at, but
And it's not
doesn't
just-
feel like a regular carousel.
Right.
And for the ranking,
9th, balancing 10th.
9 out of 11.
Yeah.
Okay. 7th place.
I always say it, I'm gonna say it again. We're home, baby. Welcome to my world. I'm very happy that we are finally here. We were able to make it inside a Dark Universe, but we could not ride it. So we've ridden this quite a few times. So we do know this like the back of our hand. Speak of the devil, one of the greatest things about this land is about to happen. We've got Dr. Victoria Frankenstein herself taking all of the power from the land. Look at that. That beautiful light show is a perfect segue into Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment, which is also one of the most popular rides here at Epic Universe. I know that keeps coming out of my mouth throughout this video, but there are a lot of popular attractions here at Epic Universe. And if you don't know anything about this, this is a dark ride motion simulator, very similar to the Forbidden Journey over at Islands of Adventure, except a whole lot better. Why? Because there are limited screens here. You're gonna see a lot of huge set pieces. You're gonna see a total of 14 animatronics, and you're gonna get to see a whole lot of classic Universal monsters. It is a chef's kiss. Let's talk about the other attraction that is in this land, and that is Curse of the Werewolf, which is a family-friendly coaster, spinning coaster in fact, where the weight is distributed depending on which seat you're in and who's sitting behind you. So if you are a little nauseous, which we're going to talk about in a second, you could feel it here, but overall it is a very, very fun coaster.
It is already 10:20, so we're going to talk about the rankings outside of Dark Universe so we can allow the team members to officially close the land and go home. Thankfully for us, we have been in Dark Universe so many times. We've been in these rides, so we can give you a proper, adequate ranking for these rides.
That's right. Now let's start with...
kicking it off with Curse of the Werewolf. This ride...
Nausea level
is interesting because
it is a coaster, so normally I would be ranking it, but you have gotten nauseous on this one actually. And you usually don't get nauseous on the coaster.
Time that we have gone on this coaster, it's not a nausea that I'm like, I cannot move after this, but when we get out of the ride, when it finishes, I am feeling quite woozy. And like we talked about, Curse of the Werewolf is a weight distributed ride that is going to spin based on the weight that is in the cart. On a theming and atmosphere, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. There's not a whole lot to look at in the queue itself.
The queue itself at night is beautifully lit.
It is.
But there's not a lot of story that goes along with it. Unless you read before you go into the attraction to learn about it and get into it, you're not going to know that Universal Creatives actually mentioned that you're supposed to feel as if you are transforming into a werewolf as well, because you do bear the curse of the werewolf.
I give this my 3rd place.
Wow.
Yes.
For me, 7.
The creme de la creme, which I feel like we have both put this at our number 1.
Yeah. So Monsters Unchained,
Listen,
number 1.
no notes when it comes to theming and atmosphere. We're going to get to that in a second. I'm going to give this a nausea level of a 5.5. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people have said that they do not get nauseous in this ride. I fall into the small minority that still kind of do feel a little woozy here and there. I mean, we've ridden this ride probably close to 10 or more times at this point. And sometimes it's very hit or miss. Sometimes I will get nauseous, sometimes I will not. I will say that the ride has become a little bit more intense since the first preview days that we
really jolt you around, I'll say that.
Maybe don't get on the ride with a super full stomach.
Now as far as the storytelling, theming, atmosphere,
20
everything,
out of 10.
I was about to
Literally,
say, from the facade to the queue to the ride itself, the storytelling, the details, the Easter eggs, everything. You feel like you are inside a real life monster movie.
Top three. Monsters Unchained for me. Hiccups, number 2. Number 3, Curse of the Werewolf, and the rest are popping up over here.
There you go.
And for you?
For me, Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry at number 3. Number 2, surprisingly enough, that might change down the road, but Stardust Racers. This one shocked me. And number 1, Monsters Unchained, baby. You already know.
That does it for us. Thank you so much for watching.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you. We will catch you next week.